Hello everyone! With Ludum Dare 38 just around the corner, I thought I'd throw in some of my own advice of how to tackle the jam. So here we go. Number 1. Practice. For many of us, game dev is just a hobby we pick up on occasion. And when you get back in the saddle, you don't want to hunt down that one button that always does the thing you want, or what kind of data type this one function actually returns. So because this can get really frustrating when you're in the thick of it and really don't have the time to look basic stuff up. Number 2. Number 2. Prepare. While it can be fun to just throw yourself in at the last minute, actually putting some time in before participating in preparation saves you some time, especially if you consider the needs you will have later in the project. That means you want to drink something, you want some sweets, especially to reward yourself. Yeah, you even want to eat something healthy you might have cooked ahead. But this also means to set up your software and all your preferences to go in that one project folder you will be working from. So just make sure that everything is where you need it and where you expect it, because in the last minutes of a jam you don't want to drill down 70 subfolders to where your final build is. Number 3. Plan. Of course, it sounds a little bit boring to just draw up a schedule and work according to your schedule. It sounds so uncreative, but in fact it really saves you when you want to be creative and just don't have to worry about how long one task takes, because if you're not sure, you just look up the plan and think, I still have 2 hours for this, no problem. It also tells you how far behind you are, and it really allows you to be flexible instead of just worrying whether you make it or not. So having a plan is great. Number 4. Sleep. When you're short on time, you might want to shave off some minutes or hours of this big chunk in your day where you just spend sleeping in your bed. But this can be a little bit tricky, and let me tell you why. When you're getting exhausted and sleepy, you get slower, you make bad decisions, and at some point you just make mistakes. And it happened to me that at one point I had this epiphany, so no, I need to structure my code completely different, and that's what I did. And then completely exhausted I went to bed, and the next day I looked at it and I thought, oh my god, I broke everything. So what you break with the best intentions when you're sleepy and it really feels like you get work done, you have to fix it on the next day anyway. And for me I realized that I'm just getting more stuff done when I'm well rested. So sleep. Number 5. Play to your strengths. You're good at writing? Then don't spend 2 hours trying to implement frustum culling in C++. If you're good at coding procedural stuff, you probably don't want to try out animating that galloping horse in 3D, because you don't know how long it will take you, and probably it will take you much longer than necessary. So just do the stuff you know you can do best and focus on that. This is why my games are not really fun, because I don't know how to implement fun game mechanics and just draw pretty pictures. Number 6. Obliterate risks. What are risks? Risks are something that you never did before and it's essential to your game, basically. So whatever is essential to your game but you've never done it before, my advice is to do it early and to just see if you can do it. If you have all this framework ready, all your assets, and there's just 3 hours to the deadline, and this one mechanic you just kept pushing it away like I usually do, and then you're there and you thought, somehow I can make this. You start coding away and after half an hour you realize, oh shit, this is much more complicated than I've ever expected it to be. And with just 3 or 2 hours left to the deadline, it's just game over. But if you do this early, if you have this great idea for this great mechanic which you never did before, just prototype it. And it takes you half an hour to realize, this is workable, I can do this within 48 hours. Or you realize after, maybe sometimes even after 10 minutes of trying to implement it, it really opens up all this complexity and you think, oh, no way I can do this in 48 hours. And then you just put it aside and come to it back later. But you just brainstorm for a new idea. The point is to do this early and when you don't waste too much time. I mean, when this doesn't work, you've just wasted half an hour, you can still jam. But if you've put everything in place and then this one thing that really makes your game doesn't work you don't have a game. So yeah, obliterate risks. That is stuff that you've never did before and is essential to your game. Number 7, snippets and templates. Of course it's cheating if you have a pre-made game and you just reskin it to fit the theme. So yeah, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about using some lines of your code you did before for other projects which come in useful. For me that is basic user input, character movement, collision, that kind of stuff. This frees my mind to start thinking about the real complicated stuff that is innate to this one project. You don't want to reinvent the wheel each time, you don't have time for this. But you also don't want to plug your game together from some pre-made modules and call it a day. Because you really cheat yourself. Participating in a jam is learning and growing as a game developer and just for yourself, and it's no fun if you just cheat, right? And number 8, take care of yourself. Drink enough water. Have a fruit between 2 packs of chips or nachos and go out on occasion. At the end of the day, a jam is all about having fun and devoting yourself entirely to something you love. And when you're not feeling well, you're feeling ill, you're feeling sick, some flash of anxiety is kicking in, or you just burned out from a full work week and then giving it all in a jam, it's perfectly fine to just take a step back and just watch the jam happen. It's not failing or losing, it's just taking a breather and looking after yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a game jam. No lives are at stake except your own. So you really should take care of yourself and do the best what you can to enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, then there's no point in participating. So, and that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope this was useful, and I wish you lots of luck, lots of inspiration, lots of success, and may the theme not suck. Alright, see you on the other side.